Welcome to Upticks. I'm Jake Falcon, the founder of Falcon Wealth Advisors and your host of Upticks. Today is episode 133, Understanding Cryptocurrency. Okay, before we dive into today's topic, I hope all of you out there are staying safe and healthy during this horrible pandemic. I recently did a webinar with Corey Bittner, my partner at Falcon Wealth Advisors, and one of the topics was cryptocurrency. And I thought it'd be a good idea to expand on it a little bit here in a show of Upticks. So that's what I'm going to do today. So what I want to do is I want to explain what cryptocurrency is, and then I want to discuss if we think it's a good investment or not. Okay, and so for many of you out there, you've probably heard of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin. There's literally 6,700 cryptocurrencies out there. And a lot of people still don't really understand what they are. And what they are is it's a digital currency that can be used theoretically in some circumstances to buy goods and services. But what's unique about it is it uses an online ledger system, with strong cryptography to secure the online transactions and log them, called blockchain. And so I know that's a lot of technical terms thrown at you there really quickly, but if you remember, and I guess these are still probably a thing, maybe not with the pandemic, but arcades would give you tokens, right, to play the video games, or maybe you'd even win tickets that you would exchange for prizes, right? If you played skee ball or some of those games that had tickets with them. Or casino chips is another version, right? So it's basically just a currency that you use to exchange goods and services, pretty simply put. Now, what's interesting about it is they're unregulated, right? And so it's still, in my opinion, even though, cryptocurrency has been around for quite some time now, it's still the wild, wild west. And so a lot of people, the allure is that it is unregulated and so that they can trade these cryptocurrencies for a profit. Now, that doesn't mean that's not the only reason, but the idea is it's not widely accepted. And so nobody has a firm hold on the price or the underlying intrinsic value, because there's really none. It's really whatever somebody's willing to pay for it is really what it's worth, right? And so a lot of people are speculating on it. And like I said, there's 6,700 cryptocurrencies out there, with Bitcoin by far and away being the most popular. And actually, if you add up all of the Bitcoins out there, they're fast approaching, and they're probably, as of the airing of the show, over or around $1 trillion. And if you add up all of the cryptocurrency, the entire market represents 1.6 trillion. So you can see how big of a player Bitcoin really is, right? And so a lot of people that are pro cryptocurrency, they see this as the currency of the future. And they have several reasons. Many of them see that is it removes the central banks, right? So you'd have, no one in the European Union controlling the euro. The Federal Reserve wouldn't control our currency in the United States. There's no need for it because it's basically a self-regulating thing through the blockchain, right? And that's huge. The technology, I think, on blockchain, we still don't know what that really is going to be used for, but it's a pretty powerful tool. And then some people just like to trade them, right? In my opinion, that's gambling, though, and I'll get into that in a little bit. And if you remember, quick side note, do you remember Beanie Babies? Beanie Babies were a crazy thing where some of the prices skyrocketed on these things. And again, there really wasn't much intrinsic value there. I mean, there was some materials used in making the Beanie Baby, but it was all just hysteria driving the price of these things up. So, and scarcity was a big deal. So by making Beanie Baby scarce, or even Bitcoin, and that's what's alluring to Bitcoin, is that there's only so many of these coins that are able to be in existence. And I think that's what's driving the price. And I'll get to why we don't like it here in a moment, but that's, I think, also one of the reasons that you're seeing the price. I mean, the price, as little as 3 or 4 years ago was around 10,000 for one coin. Now it's like 40 or 50,000. It's crazy how much the price has gone up. Now, so getting into some of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of Bitcoin. Now, again, I think the technology is phenomenal. The problem with just investing, and again, I say that in air quotes, investing, is that there is no cash flow. So if there is no cash flow, there's no, like I said, underlying intrinsic value. So they call this the greater fool premise. So who's going to be caught being the last person to buy it at these elevated prices before it crashes? I'm sure there's probably a handful of Beanie Babies out there that you still can buy at pretty high prices. But I think broadly speaking, all of the prices have crashed and come way down. So that's the issue. So you buy it today, and then you're hopeful that somebody will buy it from you in the future at more because they're the greater fool. And then maybe someone will buy it from them at a higher price, but at some point it's got to stop. And that's my other issue, is that there is no price stability. Meaning, if we're truly going to use this one day as a currency, you can't have the price fluctuating wildly every day. And think about it. If you went into the grocery store, right, and you've got dollars in your pocket, or, on your credit card or check, debit card, whatever, and the value of your dollars is literally fluctuating while you're shopping in the grocery store, it's good. You're not going to be able to shop, because what if your value of your dollar crashes and you go to the checkout line and you've got to spend $500 for groceries that you thought were going to cost $50 or $100, right? So you can't use it. You wouldn't use it. You wouldn't shop with the dollar if you couldn't go and have a shopping experience and have to live in this worry of the price fluctuating. So I want to make it very clear, at Falcon Wealth Advisors, we're not endorsing buying Bitcoin, really, for those 2 points that I just made, right? There's no price stability and there's no cash flow. And it's not that I don't want to be this Debbie Downer and not embracing new technology, because I would argue that we're very progressive at Falcon Wealth Advisors and we're certainly open to new ideas. But just like we don't invest in the US dollar or the yen or the peso or the Canadian dollar or the euro, if this is a so-called currency, we don't invest in currencies. That's just something we don't do. Just like we don't invest in classic cars or antiques. It doesn't make them bad. It's just not what it's built around, right? Or it's just not what our research is built around. And so that's why we're not really investing it, right? And there's other platforms that you can do it, right? But again, I can't endorse those either because I don't know anything about them, right? So you don't have to go to a financial advisor to buy Bitcoin. There's all these different exchanges out there that you can just deposit your money and make the transaction. But you have to be careful, and you want to do your research if you're doing this. Now, Bitcoins, some people ask, are they legal? Well, certainly they're legal in the United States. But what's interesting, regardless of what you think about China, they basically ban them, right, in China. So China's a huge economy. They're an emerging market. So if they're not adopting it, I don't know if it's going to be this global currency, right? So again, they're very volatile, very risky. We don't even know truly who invented it, which scares me also. And just like we don't, and I'll give you an example of this, we don't invest directly in 3D printers or marijuana stocks, right? But we might invest in companies that leverage that technology or, that industry, and let them make those decisions, right? So I'm not saying that we're anti-Bitcoin or blockchain as a technology, but we might buy a stock that is then going to use the blockchain technology and leverage that to be a more profitable company. To me, that is a much wiser way of getting exposure to some fascinating new form of currency or ledger systems than going out there and directly investing it. You don't need to directly invest in it to be involved in it, right? And then I'll leave you with my last point here, and it's something to think about. So if you're thinking about buying Bitcoin, I would encourage you to meet with your financial advisor and see if buying Bitcoin is part of the makeup of your investment strategy for your financial plan. And for our clients at Falcon Wealth Advisors, we have a 0% allocation to Bitcoin in their financial plan investment return projections, meaning we don't need to go chase this and do this for them to hit their financial goals, which tells you in itself, you don't need to go do it. And if you are going to still do it, right, you say, Jake, I get all that, but I love it, I'm going to get rich, blah, 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 then just go into it knowing whatever you buy, how much ever money you buy Bitcoin with, you have to be comfortable losing all of it, 100% of it, because that certainly could happen, just like most all investments, right? There is no guarantee but especially with Bitcoin, we don't know who invented it. You could get hacked, you could lose it, you could forget your password to log in. I don't know, right? So it's very, very difficult out there, and just be careful. Okay, good. So hopefully I opened your eyes up to understanding cryptocurrency a little bit. I think it's a fascinating technology. I just don't think you need to go out there and get glazed over with greed and go chase these crazy valuations with, again, no earnings. There's no earnings with Bitcoin. So there's nothing backing that price. And again, it fluctuates too much. It's not going to be used as a currency anytime soon because it's way too volatile to go buy milk and bread with. All right, good. So that's all the time that I do have for you today. Quick update on the Augusta room. We'll put some pictures up here. We've got some artwork on there. The walls are painted. We've got some books on the shelves. We're very excited about that. And I've also, through Rachel's heavy influence, moved my putting green from my second floor down to my basement, threw a mat down there. So now I can do little chip shots and putting. So I'm really excited about working on my golf game in my basement. So that's a little fun. Again, there's not much to do out there. So we're just trying to do stuff around our house to make it more enjoyable. It's already a great house, but just trying to make it more enjoyable. So with that, hope you all are enjoying yourselves. Spring hopefully is fast on the horizon in Kansas City. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great week.